Hello, and here we go. This is going to be the Zoom instructional. And maybe you're a Zoom master already, and that's fantastic. I know for me that I have used Zoom for over a year, a year plus, and I did prepare for this video that I'm going to create right now. So I've watched some instructional, some YouTube videos and things like that over the last couple of days, and I've learned a few things. So maybe there's a few things in here that I might show you that that you didn't know before. But I also know that there's a lot of people out there that still struggle or don't know that much about Zoom, and part of this whole Zoom group therapy program is using Zoom. So sooner or later, we have to get in there and have a conversation and just kind of do a walkthrough just to make sure that I'm providing you with whatever what I feel that I need to provide you with to help you be successful. So that's what this is. So we're going to walk through all of these bottom buttons, which is really kind of the central nervous system and the functionality of Zoom. So let me take this back down to typically where the Zoom video starts, and we're going to click that off, and then we're going to click the chat off. So usually it starts here with just the video rolling. You'll usually have to turn your video on and make sure that your microphone's working and all that. But I always click on the participants. Now, you're the host. So as the host, you're the one who's going to bring people into the room once they come into the waiting room. And this way you can see them, and then as they come in, you can see the list of their names. And then there's also going to be, after more people show up, there'll be options along the top here as to grid or how you want to view your videos or the screens, okay? And then I turn on chat. So this is where we were when we just started out here, and we'll get more into this chat here in a little bit. So let's go start off with the mute, or actually this is the audio buttons here, and if I click on that, you'll see that now it shows that I've muted my microphone. It also shows it up here. So I click to unmute, and if I hit the up arrow, then you'll see now all the options of the different speakers and microphones that I have. Now I'm using my Yeti microphone, and that's why that's chosen. You can see this right here. This is my Yeti. Gotta get that out of the way. And so there you go. So that's what I'm using as my external microphone now. And so that's why that's chosen. So if you're using an external microphone, it actually sees the Yeti once I plug it into the computer. But just to make sure that it's seeing it and that it's chosen, this is where you would find that. And you can click on that, and here is some more settings that go a little deeper into the functionality of setting the output volumes and all kinds of different options here, kind of advanced and behind the scenes. Okay, so that's how you get there. Now if you go to video, the same thing. This is where we would turn the video off, and there's my profile picture, and then clicking it and pops me back on. And if you notice when that was off, then it's also showing you that it's off over here in the participants. So video back on. Again, we have an up arrow that gives us some other options. Virtual background, that's where you've probably seen people at the at the beach or whatever else that they can throw into their virtual backgrounds. And the video settings, again, pops you back to this. It just now is kind of locked into the video aspect of it. So those are some navigations into the finer details of audio and video. And then if we go to security, here is where you can turn some things on and turn some things off, lock the meeting. Now, I learned that through doing some of these videos and YouTube videos and just doing some, learning, watching some of these tutorials, and I learned about lock the meeting. I didn't know about that before, but that is a way that you can say, okay, well, we have the 10 people in the room that are in the meeting, and that's all we're going to let into the meeting, and I can lock it so nobody else can join while the meeting is going on. So if you want to utilize that feature for your groups, you can do that here. Suspend participant activities. I believe that there's features that are built into Zoom here to really help control the classroom environment, where maybe there's some unruly kids or grade school or high school or something like that. And so that gives a way of being able to remove somebody from the group. But hopefully you won't ever have to use that. But I believe that that's kind of why that was built in. So participants, once you have more people come into the room, obviously the number is going to increase depending on how many people you have here. And if you hit up the button, now you can invite people if you have them kind of in the Zoom, I guess your Zoom list, okay? But we utilize GroupMe, and I'm going to show you that as well, about how we create the link and then post the link to GroupMe, and that's how we inform our community and our folks and give them the link to get into the meeting. So we don't use the invite. Now, share screen. If you've used Zoom before and you've used share screen, then you kind of know what that's about. But it is a really cool feature, but it's also something that you have to be ready for, so that if you're sharing your screen, you're not spending a whole bunch of time trying to figure out like where your PowerPoint is, or where the document is, or where the thing is that you're trying to share. So having that set up a little bit before you hit the share screen is important. But when we hit that, now you can utilize their whiteboard feature, which is pretty cool. And that gives you the ability to, draw and make a list and do all kinds of cool things. One option would be like if you said, hey, let's make a gratitude list, you can jump over here, hit the text, and their, grateful list. And as the participants are giving you words, maybe you could build the list right here in real-time form. So that might be one way, or something like that you could use this feature for. But if you were going to share your screen, a little trick is making sure, like I said, if you're going to share your desktop, you got to make sure that you have your tab already, and that you know where things are, and that you got things set up right here, and you can just practice a little bit before you get into the group. That way when you click on it, then you know where you're going, and you click in, and now you can keep the meeting flowing without kind of getting lost. When you get flustered and you can't find what you're looking for, and all of a sudden now it becomes kind of a panic. So that's helpful. Okay. And then the cool thing is that multiple participants can share simultaneously. See, I didn't know that this was a feature before I kind of got into this. And so that's one thing that you can utilize. And another thing, just this last week, we were in a meeting outside of IRP, but it was just a regular meeting, and we were bouncing back and forth the hosting service, having this, you be the host because you're going to share your screen. Okay, now you be the host because you're going to share your screen. Didn't know that you could click this and have all participants share their screen. So that's a cool feature, and one that I didn't know about until I started watching some of these videos. So something to share with you. And so moving on, polling is a cool feature that just is built in to the Zoom, and you can create some polls and things like that with that. So the reactions, again, here's your clapping and your thumbs up, and here's where you can raise your hand and things like that. Right? So raise your hand and then lower your hand. So just like when you're in class, raise your hand, and that means you want to share. So that's how you would do that. Now the more button, here's the chat. You can record on this computer. We can record in the cloud. So if you record the sessions and you put them in the cloud, I can say that I have a paid version of Zoom, and it gives me about 3 or 4 or 5 videos that I can load up there, and then I've kind of run out of space as far as what they give you in that aspect. So but that's a feature there. And then the breakout rooms, cool feature. I didn't know that existed until not too long ago, and I was doing some presentations and I found out about the breakout rooms, and I was like, well, my Zoom account doesn't seem to have breakout rooms. Where is that feature? And then I realized that, I found my way to how I could turn it on so I could use the feature. And so I'm going to share that with you in case maybe that's something that you're experiencing. I'm going to show you where I found this to make this happen for me. And then over here is now here's the participants, and as you have 3 or 5 or 10 people here, they're all going to be listed here. Typically like in alphabetical order, I think, unless they raise their hand, then they get shot to the top. And this is also where you would be able to change the hosting or co-host. So if you wanted to bring somebody in and make them the host, if they're in here, you click the more button, and there's some options, and you can make them the host that way. Now, moving down here to the chat, great feature, and one that you can see I can actually, if I had 10 people in there, I could send a chat message to all 10 people, to everyone. If I have 10, I can click on, one individual, and you'll see that you're now sending a text directly to them. So that gives you a little ability to, if the meeting's going on here and there's some sharing going on, and you see this person over here and you want to have, a little private message sent to them, then you can do that. So there's a couple of different layers of communication and messaging that you can do this way. You can also send files from your computer or your drives, so that's an option there as well. You can also make it so that they can only chat with the host. So if you have a situation where you don't want them chatting amongst themselves, you can make that so they can only chat with you. So there is a few features there to manipulate and manage the chat room as the host. If you're not the host, I don't think you can do all this. I think you have to be the host to do all this. Okay, let's click over, and I'm going to take you into how we run our Zoom. Now, before we get into this, I wanted to show you, like I was saying, this is my interface with Zoom, okay? And in the settings portion of this is where I found all of the buttons that turn things on or turn things off, as far as the waiting room, pretty much everything that you would need to have, and things that you didn't even know you had, is managed here with this button on and off feature here. And if you scroll down, you'll see that there's the chat, meeting polls. See, that's where if I turn that off, I wouldn't have the polling option. And the whiteboard, same thing. Breakout room. So see, mine was turned off when I first got my account, and I didn't even know breakout rooms existed. And so this is where I found it to go ahead and turn it on so that it would then show up in my options with my Zoom account. So that's how I figured that out, and I wanted to share that with you just in case you're experiencing maybe the same thing, because the breakout room is a cool feature. I've used it quite a few times. So if you got a group of like 12, 15 people and you want to break them up into 3 or 4 or 5 individuals to go off in their own little room and have a discussion about whatever you're giving them to talk about, and then come back into the big room and share what maybe they processed in that. It's just a cool way of kind of adding some more flair and some more dynamic to the Zoom experience. But let's go into the process of what we do as far as creating a Zoom meeting, and then how we post it into our GroupMe. So you can see right here is an option for you to name the meeting, and so we typically have names for our groups. So we'll just say that this is the practice IRP group. And it always gives you, it's about 9:30 at night, it always gives you about the next half hour, full hour, but you can change this to whatever you want it to be. And I never use the passcode in these groups. It seems to be just another layer that can slow the whole process down, so I click that off. And but I know a lot of Zoom meetings, still they'll give you the passcode, and you can do that if that's what you want to do. But I find it easier to give them the ability, in my group, the ability just to click the button and end up in the waiting room. And so I turn that off, and then if you just save, then it gives you, copy the invitation, and you hit that. And now it's copied to my clipboard, and now I'm going to go over to the GroupMe, and you can see here is men's group, our women's group. We also have our staff. So this is where I drop it in to the staff, so whoever's facilitating the group can come into the staff and grab the link and be on the call, and then I'm dropping it into the men's program, the women's program, GroupMe's, and this is what it looks like right here, right? This was the one earlier today for the Friday group, and then the clients just click that button, and into the waiting room they go, and into the Zoom room they go. So we've used GroupMe for quite a few years now, and it's a great platform for your community. If you're not already using it, it gives you the ability to have your own little private texting platform, and so you can see that the community kind of talks back and forth, shares some experience and some good, healthy stuff, and some, readings, and sharing some stuff about what's going on in their lives, asking for rides, or just communicating. It's just another layer of helping the community stay connected. And then also provides a great platform to drop these links in, and makes it really easy, so you don't have to send out a bunch of emails or anything like that, or text messages, just all in one place. And they know that they need to go in there and grab it 5-10 minutes before the meeting. And I can tell you that over the years, that even the person who is really technology challenged. Maybe he's never even has trouble even downloading an app. And in fact, we had a gentleman join us this week in our men's program like that, like difficulty, even really kind of managing email, but got him up and running, got him to get the app on his phone. And it was a couple days ago that he showed up here, and just today he got on the group himself and figured it all out, and was just super proud of it. And the guy's like, he's 50 years old. He's real excited that he actually figured this out and did it on his own. And so even an individual like that, you can help them get up and running with the GroupMe and the Zoom. So great platform. Might have to work a little bit harder with or more intensely with a few clients along the way, but for the most part, everybody's done this and knows how to navigate around it and jump on it. So that is how we run our program, and I'm excited to share that stuff with you guys. Excited that you're here, and if you made it to this video, then I know that you're in the program, and I'm excited that you're getting this thing set up for your business, your program. It has done wonders for us, and I'm excited about seeing what you create, and I hope this helped out. Always love to hear feedback, so anything that you want to toss, if it's confusing or if I could have done anything differently, please let me know. But at this point, we're going to shut her down and let you go ahead and probably navigate through some of this stuff yourself and check it out. So thanks again, and I will see you in the next video, in the next lesson, and down the road. All right, take care.